So today I'm going to be talking about my process of how I create thumbnails. So the first thing that I usually do is I actually batch create the actual photos that I'm going to use inside of my thumbnails. So in my specific thumbnails, I usually have me on there and then I'll have like text on the side. But what I realized is like sometimes after I then filmed the video, scripted it and did all that stuff, that I would forget to take my thumbnail photo at the very last, before I'm uploading it to YouTube. And I was like, okay, this is not good. So that is when I actually just started to reuse the photos that I already had. And then eventually I was like, okay, so if I'm already reusing the photos that I already have, I might as well just like batch create my thumbnail photos. So that's when I started taking a day, every 2 to 3 months, and I would just switch out 2 to 3 outfits, and then I would, reuse these photos that I took for my thumbnails. Now, eventually, I probably won't even have to create new thumbnails, or, I won't have to do it as often because of how many pictures I actually take in one sitting. But now we're going to go into, how I actually create them. All right, so since this thumbnail had a pretty good click-through rate for me, it was like 3.0 or something like that, I am going to basically recreate how I did this thumbnail, right? I usually have my photos that I take, and I have this sort of like master thumbnail document. So this is all the thumbnails that I've ever used on YouTube. And again, I will reuse some of the photos that I've taken before and put them on new thumbnails. It'll just be like a different topic. Like, for example, this one and this one, I use the same sort of like pointy finger photo. Now, this one actually did really good. This video actually did really good compared to like my normal videos. And this one is doing actually kind of bad in my opinion. So, I think it's really good to like test them out basically. And then I want to show you guys another example of how I use the same photo like 3 times. Let me just move them like close to each other so you can see. Okay, so another example of how I use the same photo in 3 separate thumbnails. So it was this one, I did this one, and then I also did this one. Each of these 3 videos uses the same photo. This one is just like switched around the other way. And at the time, I noticed that, I don't know, for some reason this photo did like really good, or maybe it's the way that I'm, editing the actual thumbnails, but anytime I use this picture right here, it actually performed kind of well in my opinion. All right, now to the actual like creation process. So I'll usually just like add another page, and sometimes I'll just use, my brain colors, and I'll just put a solid color background. But what I've actually started to do is I actually started to use like my desk background, and then I'll put my photo on top of that. So I usually just copy and paste the same photo, the background of my desk area, and this is what the photo originally looks like. But I put the actual transparency down a little bit just so like, it can still look like some of my other thumbnails with the solid colors. I'm like really big on branding. And then I'll either just go look at one of my other thumbnails and see if there's a photo I can grab from there. So in this case, I actually did reuse this picture again for the 3rd time, and I'll copy and I'll paste that photo onto my, thumbnail picture. And then depending on what the video is actually about, I'll put like some text on there going kind of deeper into what the title was. I believe the title of this YouTube video was, 5 video ideas to make more sales on YouTube. So then I like typed out more sales, and then I made it super big. I think this was the font that I used, I changed it to white, and then to make it pop a little bit more, I actually lifted it from the background, and then I outlined it and changed the outline color to green. So now it like definitely pops out against the background. And then since I was talking about YouTube, I also put the YouTube logo on here just so like people can know that like I'm talking about YouTube. So if they didn't see it on the title, then they definitely see it on the YouTube symbol. And then I probably felt like there was still something missing, so I just like searched for money inside of, you know, the Canva, and then I think this is the one that I used, and you know, I just put it sort of like on both sides of, you know, the words. I really try to make my thumbnails pop out, and you know, thumbnails are something I'm still practicing, but this is actually one of like my favorite parts of the YouTube video creation process, just because I don't make graphics very often, but it's something that I know how to do. So I personally find this part of the process like really fun. So let me see the other one. Okay, so the signs or the money was like slightly smaller. And yeah, it looks something like this. So yeah, I do know that this specific thumbnail did really good compared to like some of my other ones. This is like one of my, probably like in my top 3 or top 5 videos that I've created. So yeah, this is my thumbnail process. Go ahead and let me know down in the comments, do you reuse your photos like in your thumbnails? I don't know, what do you think about that idea? Because personally, I've never seen anybody go about it this way, but it's just the way that makes it easier for me. I'm definitely like a big, you know, try to work smarter, not harder type of person. So that just helps me to do that. And also, if you haven't already, definitely subscribe, because this is a series that is now going to be extended into like next month on my process on YouTube and actually how I go about it. I'm like super excited for the videos that I have coming up. So if you're interested in that, definitely subscribe and look out for my upcoming videos.